All right, guys, today we got a nice little 1305. I know it looks brand new. This is from Wendell, by the way. This thing is almost perfect. A little bit of wear on it. It was made in January 94. If you want to know how to decode those letter codes, check out locklab.com. Look under downloads, and there's a free download with all the codes and how to translate those. Wendell did not have a key. He says he was not able to pick this, and he asked me to try to pick it, and then so that would allow him to make a new key. And I think if I can get it picked, I'll just make a key for him, repin this thing. There's a little bit of wear on it, but there's no big dings, no cut marks, hammer marks, anything like that. He says it obviously is not a challenge lock since he couldn't get it open, but I'm always a little bit skeptical. The keyway does look brand new. There's a little bit of, looks like corrosion on it, but the keyway is not worn at all, just perfect. So 26-year-old, almost brand new lock, but unfortunately no key. So let's go ahead and see if we can't get this thing picked. It's an American, so we have a slightly recessed keyway. So I'm going to take this guy. It's a 1.2 millimeter from Multi-Pick and slide him right there. I'm going to try to hold this guy in my hand. Let me zoom in a little bit, because typically these things are full of spools and serrated pins and a mixture of the two, serrated spools. So ought to be a little bit of fun. I'm going to take a chance, since I know these keyways quite well, take a chance with my expensive rat yoke. It's got the perfect amount of rise on it. All right, very light tension, and let's see what Wendell's got here. I'm just very light tension. I'm looking for any binder, and the first time through I didn't find it, so I'm going to apply a little more tension, and just making sure there's 5. Yeah, I'm on pin 4, and he's binding a little bit. So just a tiny little click off of him, and I felt a very, very slight turn on that core. So don't get excited. We're not close. Keep very light tension on it. And again, keep looking. If you find another binder, pick it. If not, go back to, in this case, pin 4, the first one. Okay, that was pin 4 again. Slight click. That was pin 3, slight click. Pin 1, very slight click. Just remember the last one you pick, because if all the rest of them are still free, then you just go back to that one. In this case, I'm going back to 1. Give them another little minor click. Not getting any feedback from any of the other pins. The ones that I believe I've set. Anyway, pin 4 and pin 3. Because we are using such slight, very light tension, and there's a real strong spring on these cores, every once in a while just give it a little mash with your thumb, just to see if it is open and you just don't realize it. In this case, I'm not that lucky. Still on pin 3, another little click. Another click on 2, pin 1, a very slight counter rotation. Just see if he's open, no. Pin 1 again. I believe that's counter rotation on 4. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to lighten up on the tension. I got a click off it. I might have just overset him, though. That was pin 1. 2 clicks on him. Pin 3. 2 clicks on him. Pin 3, another click. So these little clicks actually represent serrations. I'm going down the stack of serrations on the pin. That was pin 1. Wow, I can see why Wendell had trouble with this guy. Pin 5 is definitely set. He's not giving me any counter rotation, nothing. That was pin 2 again. He's really high cut. All right, the only binder I have is 5. I'm going to have to force him. So I've either overset, and I got to click off him. Okay, now that was pin 2. That was pin 1. Felt a slight turn on the core there. I believe that's counter rotation on 4. That was 5. That was 5 again. And nice turn on the core there. You probably saw it flop over. So we are close. I've just felt the core turn just a little bit more. So we have a default set, I believe. It's not open. So we're probably on a spool, but I'm not getting any counter rotation from anybody. There it is, pin 5, a little bit of counter rotation. I believe we set him, and there we go. What a nasty, and there's only 5 pins. You know, I really wish they hadn't done away with these. These are friggin' great locks. Difficult to pick, pretty tough. Even though they have aluminum bodies, they're difficult to bash open because they've got ball bearings to secure both sides of it. Let's go ahead and crack this guy open and make sure that there is indeed a screw in there. There is a Phillips screwdriver, or a Phillips screw, so I'll use a Phillips screwdriver to pull that dude out of there, move that ball bearing out of the way. See what we got in here. Okay, there was an anti-bypass wafer, so even if I tried to bypass him, I would have had to use a wafer breaker to cut through that. Not really worth the effort. Okay, I don't have a key, so I'm going to have to leave him in the unlocked position. And go ahead and pop off that circlip. He says, you know, I really need to get a circlip tool. Nah, maybe not. Okay, let me move all this stuff out of the way. Keep that there. Move all that out of here. Get a tray in. Get the circlip and all the extra pieces. Let's see what we got in here. I need a follower. Where'd you go? That ought to be good. Not the right one. Let's try this guy. All right, so the pins are going to be along this side. Put them like this. And go to town. Okay, there's a 6th chamber, typical of most of these locks. But let me unzoom so this autofocus will work. There are 5 pins, but that 6th chamber is not populated. I don't know why they did that. I can't imagine that it saves but fractions of pennies, but that's what those guys used to do. All right, oh, that was the first 2. Okay, first one was serrated. Second one was standard. Third one was serrated. Fourth one is serrated. And the last one is not standard. Okay, already I can see that we got some pretty extreme bitting in here, which is probably what was giving Wendell problems. We have a very low cut one in the front. We have a very high cut one in number 2. 2 very low cut ones, and then a high cut one in chamber number 5. So without a tool like this with a very high hook on it, it really would have been difficult to reach that last one and to reach that second one without oversetting these very low cut ones. All right, shut up, Bill. Let's get to work here. See what we got. All right, we have, serrated in 2, and we also have a serrated in 1, which barely has any spring tension on him. But number 2 shot out of there. All right, 2 serrateds. They both look brand new despite being 26 years old. Also serrated. Chamber 4, very weak. He just barely sticks up, almost like whack-a-mole there. Serrated, and then the last one, he's shot out of there with quite a bit of energy. It is a serrated spool. I knew that last one was a spool. I didn't realize he was a serrated spool, though. And all the springs, despite the varying heights on whack-a-mole type stuff, all the springs look to be about the same length. So, can't explain why we had different tensions there, but we did. All right, here's what we got, guys. Nothing spectacular, 26-year-old technology, but still a pretty difficult pick even today, and even more difficult had they put in that 6th pin, which is exactly what I'm going to do for Wendell when I rekey this for him. Anyway, guys, appreciate your time. Stay safe, stay legal. Wendell, thank you, sir, for sending in the lot and giving me a chance to play with it. Thanks, guys.